I'm Mike Riccardi here with your exclusive Talking Points webisode. Questions about the reach of U.S. surveillance have resurfaced in the wake of President Trump's wiretapping accusations against President Obama, and following the WikiLeaks document dump implicating the CIA in widespread hacking. I have Talking Points correspondents Dan Prager, Sabrina Maggiore, and Connor White to discuss the implications of both. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so we saw President Trump make these allegations that President Obama wiretapped him during the U.S. election. Is there anything to these allegations?
We don't necessarily know because, again, he hasn't necessarily provided evidence for these claims. Former President Obama denied the accusations. FBI Director James Comey denied the accusations. There's not really any hard evidence to say that there was a wiretap, and nobody knows that where the evidence is coming from. Senator Lindsey Graham is filing a subpoena to try and get that information. But as of now, we don't know, so it's a baseless claim.
And, I mean, if the White House isn't providing evidence for this claim, they're just saying that it happened, as they did when they said that 3 to 5 million illegal immigrants voted in the U.S. election. What does that mean for the president to be making claims but not providing the evidence?
Well, it sets a dangerous precedent for him to be able to get onto something that cannot be fact-checked in real time, something like Twitter, to go on and accuse a former president of something related to McCarthyism or something on the same level as Nixon and Watergate. I mean, with what's going on, I think the most troubling thing is that there's no clear source of how he really got this information. I mean, as far as we can tell, he found out, as he said in the tweet, from Breitbart News and conservative talk show hosts, as opposed to anything legitimate from within intelligence communities. So,
and I mean, there are rumors that he does this kind of as a way to play the media as a distraction. This came out right when all the Jeff Sessions news came out. And while we don't have any evidence that that's true, he may have just been doing that. There is something about him being a master manipulator. He's very good at manipulating the media and dominating the news cycle. And even if he's not intending to, creating a distraction so that he is dominating the news cycle. So there is really something to that. Whether or not the President of the United States should be able to do that is another question, but he is very good at it.
And the White House has asked for an investigation into this matter, as we know. But if there's no evidence, should it warrant an investigation? At least there's no evidence that we're seeing, because by that measure, you could just make any sort of claim and then just ask for an investigation.
I think it's where the claim is coming from. Definitely when it comes from an office as high as the president, you do need to investigate it, because if there is any truth to this claim, we have to take it seriously. We have to realize that he probably has access to much more information than the rest of us do. So there definitely does need to be an investigation. If it comes up false, then we're going to have to look into that and see what we have to do if the president is making up claims. But honestly, likely truly believes that this is happening, whether it is true or not. And we can't really say that it's false with him knowing more than we do.
Yeah, and if these allegations are actually true, it would actually mean that the Justice Department had gathered some type of evidence that could potentially, incriminate President Trump. So we'd have to look into what that means exactly as well.
Yeah, I mean, President Trump is saying that President Obama wiretapped him, but in order for President Obama to get that wiretap, he has to go through a FISA court, and you'd have to get a warrant, which means that there would be some level of evidence. So it's sort of self-incriminating, to say the least.
And he came out and he said that there was no investigation on him. The Justice Department has refused to decline on that, or declined to answer, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's really a double-edged sword where if there was a wiretap, then there's a pretty good chance that there's something against him, whether or not it is incriminating or it's just something they were looking into. So either way, it could hurt him.
Yeah, and there's also been a lot of long-standing laws and procedures that specifically are in place so that the president can't wiretap rivals and get this sort of incriminating or dangerous information out. So
I do want to pivot now to the CIA reports. So the reports say that the CIA can hack your smartphones, your Samsung TVs, whatever that Alexa thing is that you could ask questions to. How is this different than the reports that came out from WikiLeaks about the NSA hacking?
Well, Snowden revealed that NSA was collecting bulk data on Americans. The CIA leaks right now have nothing to do with that. Basically, what's come out is guides on how to create and use cyber tools. So it's not really a similar situation at all.
Again, and the source of the leak, according to sources, is not the idea was not to damage the CIA or anything like that, but instead to put forth a conversation about how far our agencies should be able to go with regard to cyber surveillance, and here we are. It clearly works.
Although WikiLeaks is somewhat of a political actor, especially after the election, they have put themselves in the political sphere. So while they may not have been acting, we don't know their intentions, they may not have been acting with malice trying to hurt the American government and try and make them look bad. At the same time, they totally may have been doing that.
All right, well, Connor, Dan, Sabrina, thank you very much for joining us. That'll do it for this Talking Points webisode. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to tune in the week of March 20th for our next full show. Till then, I'm Mike Riccardi.